There was a news article. This is again subject specific PCK. The topic is globalization. There was a news article that the US and China had got into a trade war with tariffs imposed on both ends. Students in Miss Amita's classroom wanted to know if both economies will now not have access at all to certain goods and services. Miss Amita wanted to teach them that tariffs may not completely stop access. Which of the following economics topics is most important? Again, the word most is there. So all the options can seem close, but most important for her to cover prior to this discussion. Black markets, balance of trade, policy shifts, global supply chains. Option D is correct. That is, you will have to teach global supply chains before you move into the discussion, because somewhere or the other, it's entirely possible that China was relying on the US perhaps for something, but now it moves to Brazil. So, in other words, there is a difference in the way goods are being transported from one country to another. So, it's very much possible that China is, which was relying on a certain country, or the US was relying on China, but they'll have to find maybe perhaps other countries. So, they could be seeing, let's say, lower prices from another country, while the US was the more preferred destination to buy something. But let's say because of the tariffs, the prices have increased. So another country which is seeming more preferred now will be the country which will supply more of their material to China. So in other words, there is overall a shift in the way that global supply will happen. So you will have to teach that. Black markets can be there. Black markets are important, perhaps to an extent, but international trade continues to happen despite them. So it's not really very relevant to this particular discussion. Policy shifts must have been taught before talking about the trade war, because somewhere or the other, there is that need to understand policy before you start explaining. The idea that countries put tariffs. So these are policies. So you'll have to do policy shifts before even discussion, before even discussing that there is a trade war. And with balance of trades, yes, that's the difference between countries' imports and exports. But that also can be an implication. But really, that is not really going to help us in understanding what will happen to the country's situation, whether they'll be able to get some goods or not. So this is relevant, but not that relevant. So the most important topic for them, for the teacher to be teaching, is global supply chains, because that will be the implication of the trade war, basically.